Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Vigorelli, and this is Vigorelli Institute. Now, back here with episode 3 of our little alternate history of the United States. If the South had won, let's hop into this. Now, I am calling this one the Race for the West. So, in our last episode, the South ripped itself apart, mostly due to political issues. The Union is holding together, kind of, sort of, and they managed to take over Nebraska. Okay. Now, because of this little event up here, this is the Native Plains tribes that have coalesced thanks to the UK and become something resembling a country. The only way to get to California is through what I call the Central Route. Okay? So everything's fine until they hit this big frickin' wall right here called the Rockies. Okay? Then you got deserts. Okay? Now in our timeline, for these guys to get here, they had to come this way. That's one of the reasons why San Francisco, which is right about here, grew so damn fast. Okay? Because not only was there gold there, getting people to the area, but they were able to come over here. This is relatively clear sailing. You drop down through good old Idaho, and you're good. The mountain passage here, not that bad. Okay? It's prairie, pretty easy. Meanwhile, this one sucks. Okay? This is I-70. It passes through an area called Vail, which, by the way, is one of the worst canyons in the world. There's very few areas that are worse than Vail. Okay? And in, 19th century, it was really bad. Okay? So, I will be expanding into another map later on in order to explain quite a few things that are going to be happening down here. But for right now, we're just going to concern ourselves. So I'm going to pop over, and we're going to go into this area. Okay. So let's take a look at this. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, arguably 5 different countries all vying for everything here in gray. Okay? Texas, Republic of Texas, Republic of California. I have no idea what this is called, but I'm willing to bet this is going to be more of a tribal council. They're kind of like an oligarchy. What happens is all of the different constituent tribes band together, and they kind of operate like a Congress, okay, which is what these guys will have. That would be the United States. Okay? They'll pick a ruling tribe out of these, and it will be done by what is known as a king's moot. Okay? Everybody will put forth their candidate, he'll say his piece, and then the representative tribes will decide which tribe gets to rule. Okay? This is actually how the European Union works. Yeah. But with a tribal council, the high chief basically operates like a king instead of a president. Okay? They typically rule for life, and it may or may not pass to someone else. Okay? So, with this going on, that's probably going to irk the United States. Okay? So what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and move in to here because they want this overland route. Okay? This will cause a war. Okay? So there's going to be a little border skirmish here. Now, after the war, after the secession war here, the UK will probably have come in and say, hey, listen, US, I know we've had our differences, but we want to trade with you, okay? We know you're having some issues. Let's be friends, okay? By the way, you need to make money, okay? And we're going to give you money in exchange for your stuff. We've got an empire to maintain. You've got a country to rebuild, okay? Let's do this, okay? So the U.S. will say, yeah, all right, by 1875, they're going to want this. And as a result, the UK is going to step in and say, no, you are not allowed to fight. Okay? Resolve your differences diplomatically. We'll come talk to you. So the US will probably back down and say, yeah, all right, fine. Okay? And the war will end. I highly doubt borders will change. Which means they are going to have to spread this way. Now, through colonization efforts, let's get this and grab that. And we're going to do here. I'll grab a 15. Okay. They're probably going to start moving in like so. Okay. And chances are they will stop at the Rockies. Now this is going to make Texas extremely upset. Okay. And it's also probably going to piss these guys off too. So these ones are going to come in. Since they can't go to war, they're going to colonize too. Okay. They're going to come up like so. Okay. Now, they're not going to be able to move as fast as the Americans because these guys do not have a unified language per se. Okay. They've got a language family. But when we get down into here, totally different group. This is Sioux. This is Ute. They don't like each other. So this is going to spark a war. Not only that, we've got white settlers in this area. They've kind of spread out colonies all over here. Okay? Colonies that do not have any allegiance. Okay? Now, during the 1870s, where we are, okay, another little country might spring up. Okay? Which I'm kind of betting it will. It's going to be, and it's going to call itself Deseret. Okay. It's going to start off right here. It's going to spread out down this way, and down this way, and this way. Okay. What is this group, you ask? It's the Mormons. Okay. Now, Deseret is what the Mormons called their little area. Okay. In fact, this is what is left of a vast territory called the Deseret Territory. That was founded in the late 1840s in our timeline. And by about this point, it had shrunk down to here as Congress was sectioning it off. Okay. This bit would get ceded to, no, it wouldn't. A little bit would get seceded to other states, and here we go. Okay. But because the Americans, the United States, are going to have issues getting into here because of this group, okay, Deseret's going to kind of be on its own. And they're going to found their own little country. Okay? It's going to be a theocracy because it's going to be ruled by the Mormon Church. Okay? The head of the church will also be the head of state. There's nothing out here because this is just desert. Okay? There's nothing there. Trust me. Okay? I lived there basically my entire life. The place sucks. Okay? So what these guys, so the way it's going to work is, and this is the way the Mormon Church is built right now, okay, is the head of the Mormon Church is taken out of a group called the Quorum of the 12, okay, and they basically vote on which one of them they want to lead. Whoever ascends up, another guy is called up from, I believe, the Quorum of the 70. I could be wrong, in order to fill the vacant seat. As these guys pass away, new guys are called up, etc. If you are Mormon and you have a family member who is in one of these quorums, you are probably very, very rich. If you live in Salt Lake, you live East Bench of Salt Lake City, maybe down into Sandy and into Draper, you probably have a ranch. You're doing good, okay? Poor people like me, we don't get to have that, okay? So what will happen is this moot will occur whenever the prophet / president of the church dies. Yes, they serve for life once they're chosen to serve. Now, it's highly nepotistic, by the way. Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. Hey, sweetheart, it's my Sophie. She's wrapping her tail around me. She's a good kitty. Yeah, ready too. Anyway, the way this is going to happen is they're not even going to bother with the United States, okay, because of the Rockies here, okay? Instead, they're going to talk to California. They're going to say, hey, California, listen, I know we've had our differences, but look, if you'll let us have some farmland, okay, maybe protect us from some Indians, okay, we'll be your friend, okay? California says, all right. Texas, by the way, is going to be having issues here, okay? They are going to try and move up into this area and into this area. But there's some Indian tribes here, okay, that really don't like it, okay? And I'm going to do, we'll do this one, okay? This is Navajo, okay? So Navajo is going to be here. And I'm actually correcting, okay? Itty bitty little thing, okay? Now the Navajo at this time is the 800-pound gorilla of the region. They've got enemies in the Zuni and so forth. What are you doing, silly little girl? Okay? And they're going to be butting some heads, okay? So this area is probably going to remain disputed between these three, okay? There's going to be a bunch of tribes living in here, okay? Major contested zone. Meanwhile, California and Texas are going to be arguing over this area, which is largely unincorporated. There's going to be Mormons living here. There's going to be Californians encroaching. There are Americans that have cut through here. Bunch of settlements, bunch of a mix. I'm going to leave it alone. Now, Mormons are going to come in. They're going to say, you know what? We don't have a whole lot of farmland, and we've got a huge population. So California, listen, we kind of want to spread out. Would you mind helping us? California will say, yeah, sure, be happy to. In exchange, whatever you guys can create, we want. So the Mormons are going to start spreading out. Okay. So quite a few of these guys, they breed quickly. Okay. So they're going to start moving in, colonizing these areas and incorporating them. We're moving into the 1880s right now. Okay. More and more areas are coming in. They're sending out missionaries. into here, okay, and into here, into Texas and California, and saying, listen, if you guys convert to our religion, we'll set you up, okay? Vast tracts of land, okay? And they're going to start moving in and incorporating these areas, okay? And little by little, they're going to start taking stuff over. Okay. Vast deserts all throughout here. There's not a whole lot going on. This, at most, you've got a few towns. There's not a lot of farming potential in the area, and the winters suck. Okay. So we're going to leave this contested. We're going to leave all of this contested. Okay? We're going to come into there. Now, this is where we start moving into some politics. Okay? See, back east, okay, these guys are stuck. Okay? Lots of cultural differences between them. And on either side of this divide, loads of farmland that both of them want. Okay? Now, this divide, that's the Appalachians. Okay? They're pretty rugged, but not impassable. Nothing like out here. Okay? So, one of two things is going to happen. Okay? Can Tennessee, or Kentucky, as I might call it, and the Carolinas, they're going to reach one of two states. It's either going to boil over and turn into a war, or they are going to have a trade line come through here. Okay? And it depends on this, and the UK. Okay? Maybe even France. Okay? But I'm betting the UK because right now they're the strongest in Europe. Okay? Germany's still trying to figure itself out. By the late 1870s, early 1880s, if I remember my history correctly, Germany has largely coalesced into a nation. Now, I say all of this because the United States, in our timeline, was isolationist. So there's not a whole lot that they really care about in going on in Europe. Okay? So Europe is basically going to have the history that it has. Okay? This is where it gets complicated. Okay? So the United States is going to be sending envoys into these. Texas might send envoys in, but I doubt it. And the Dominion of Florida will be sending envoys in, trying to destabilize both these little countries. Okay? Because they want the farmland. Okay? So what I'm betting will happen is the borders here will probably solidify until somebody says, you know what? I want those farms. I want those cities. I want those rivers. They belong to us. Okay? It is our birthright as the United States to have these. Okay? We've got 2, 3 colonies in this area that should be ours, and they are not. This is ridiculous. Now, I'm saying this because the United States is going to turn warlike. Okay? Because of their loss down here. Okay? So, they're going to have border tensions in this area. Now, the UK still works here and here. That is the only thing preserving this peace. I highly doubt that this area is going to be working with any major power. They're just going to try and survive. And I'm willing to bet that the U.S. is not going to allow trade routes to come through. And neither is Carolina. So here's what I'm betting is going to happen. Okay? Another war is going to erupt, give or take 1880. Okay? And the U.S. is no longer playing nice. They're going to come in, and they are going to conquer this area. They're going to push borders. They're going to retake Kentucky. Probably push down into Tennessee. Okay, never mind my splash. Okay. Meanwhile, seeing the writing on the wall, okay, see, they want to take this because that gives them a stronger trade route, okay? That gives them Memphis down here, okay? Which, yes, I know, it's pretend, okay? And it gives them a ton of farmland. So they're going to be taking this, okay? They've got the manpower, they've got the tech, and they've got the money to do it. Meanwhile, Carolina is going to go, the hell you are, okay? They're going to come in. They're going to take this area. Now, they can't fight each other. So what they're going to do is they're going to carve this up. Okay. They're coming in from the Appalachians. Okay. Once they hit, we're right about Knoxville right now, they'll start going. Okay. They're going to hit a couple of issues in this area because of just the way the terrain is. Yes, it's flat, but it's also got rolling hills and lots of pockets. Meanwhile, Florida, they're going to come in. They're going to say, yeah, all right, let's push our borders too. They're going to start bubbling up here. Okay. Now, because the Union started first, they've got momentum. They're going to have to hold this area, but they can move in. So I'm betting the Union is going to come up and take this last little bit. They're not going to let Florida or Carolina grab that farmland. Okay? And that'll basically be war over for the area because the UK has said, the three of you play nice. Okay? I will not have it. And that's how it is. Okay? Now, this area that we just retook, this is going to be a hotbed of rebellion. Okay? Very short-lived little republic, but they're going to want their independence back. It's going to fail. Okay? Independence movements will last for generations, but none of it will be that special. Okay? And they'll have an uneasy peace in the central southern region. Okay? Now, Texas, they're going to continue spreading. Okay? What's this? Cool. So, what's going to happen is Texas, in dealing with the natives, they're going to slowly continue spreading. But we're not going to see a whole lot here. Okay? Their borders will continue to extend out, and this area is just going to be so damn contested for a while. Okay? And it's due to population. California will also spread out. going to come in. They're going to move in like this. Okay. They're going to claim this territory, but not a whole lot of change. Okay. Meanwhile, because of all the land wars going on in Europe, immigrants are flooding in to the United States, Texas, the Dominion of Florida, and Carolina. Okay. Michigan, and probably even California as well. Now, a lot of the immigrants in California might be coming from Mexico and also China. Okay, a lot of stuff is going on in China right now. There's regime changes in various areas, and they are flooding here. Okay, we're also coming up over here as well, and probably into here. So a lot of people moving into the area. There's even land grants being issued, especially here in Texas, because they got to fill this up. See, most of the Texan population is here. This is largely wilderness. You've got a few cities, okay? You got Lubbock, little bit up in here, and by the way, this is still slave. Okay? Now, by about 1880, due to the influence of European powers, the Florida Dominion and Carolina will probably have abolished slavery. What? I'll tell you why. UK. See, both of these countries are growing vast amounts of cotton and tobacco. The UK, France, what is becoming Germany, and even Spain really likes those things. Okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to come in and they're going to tell them, listen, we understand you like the cheap labor. We get that. Okay? It's not cool, bro. So what we're going to do is you will not be able to sell your stuff in our ports. Okay? We don't care if you show up. We don't care if it's cheap. We don't care if you're starving to death. Get rid of it. Okay? Or we'll invade and make you quit. Okay? So reluctantly, probably by about 1880, both of these countries will abolish slavery on the legal base. What they will do is they will institute something of a harsher Jim Crow of if you are of a given race and you commit a crime, you will work the fields, whether you like it or not, until we deem you reformed enough to rejoin society. Okay? Well, that's going to cause some problems. I can see it right now. Okay? So, these two will have a prisoner slave policy, which the European powers will say, yeah, all right. Okay? So they will be free-ish. Not as free as the United States, but close enough. Okay? Texas, on the other hand, is going to say, we don't care. Okay? But you see, you still got people moving into Texas. Okay? They're foreign-born, either from Europe, okay? Political dissidents coming from Florida, Carolina, the United States, and so forth, coming into the area, adding to their population. Eventually, okay, due to political pressure of these groups, the Republic of Texas will abolish slavery. Institutionalized, okay, and racially based. It will most likely follow a similar policy as out here, being that it is going to be primarily based on legalities. Now, there's going to be some corruption, guaranteed, that Um, oh, well, I watched you knock over that store, collapse them in irons, and now they are in. Okay, yeah. So, California, on the other hand, will be free. Deseret, I'm not so sure. Okay, because at this time, eugenics was very prominent in in the European influenced world. Okay, and the people out here really, really like. I know this is just trash coloring, but deal with it. Okay, so they are going to believe that the white Europeans, English speaking, natural born Mormons, and so forth will be superior. Okay, converts are the next rundown. Regardless of race, non-converts living in the area will not have the same rights. They may be excluded from work. They can be run out. All you got to do is convert, bro. All you got to do. Okay? Once they do that, having children, getting married, and so forth, becomes a sacrament. It also becomes a right, okay, that you need to do. And as we move forward, this is going to grow. Start moving into these little desert areas, okay? And I think that's about where we're going to end it, okay? Now, I'm going to come back with episode 4, and we'll probably start expanding up into here, but we're going to be looking at the way things are going to play down here in the South, okay? In Mexico and in the Caribbean, okay? These are going to be the major players in the area, okay? And we'll get into that, okay? Until then, thank you so much for joining in. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you so much. Visit my website, vimandvigorelli.com. Link is in the description. I've got books, merchandise. We'll kind of see what I go along with here. Yeah. And also, lots of other stuff going on there. Follow me on Twitter. No, I will not call it X. Only feds call it X. Handle is in the description. I'll be back later with another thing. Might be episode 4 of this. Might be a movie. Who knows? Okay? So, you take care. Bye-bye.